It begins not on a battlefield, but with a promise, a quiet, persuasive promise made far from the sound of gunfire. A promise of training, of opportunity, of a better future. And for some young South African men, that promise became a one-way ticket into a foreign war they never agreed to fight. Now, as families wait anxiously for answers and the law tightens its grip, the African National Congress has stepped into the storm with General Mbalula delivering one of his strongest condemnations yet. Mbalula has denounced the alleged recruitment of South Africans to fight for Russia in the war in Ukraine, describing it as nothing less than the selling of innocent citizens. His words cut sharply through a story that has unsettled communities, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, and raised troubling questions about exploitation, deception, and accountability. The controversy erupted after media reports circulated on social media platform X, formerly Twitter, detailing the account of a distraught father from KwaZulu-Natal. According to his testimony, his son was among at least 16 South Africans who were allegedly lured to Russia under the promise of bodyguard training. Instead of protective work or professional development, these young men reportedly found themselves drawn into the machinery of a foreign military operation thousands of kilometers from home. For many South Africans, the story struck a raw nerve. It was not just about geopolitics or foreign wars. It was about trust. It was about young men believing in an opportunity only to discover they may have been misled into risking their lives in a conflict not their own. Earlier this year, the matter took an even more explosive turn when Duduzile Zuma, daughter of former President Jacob Zuma, was accused by members of her own family of playing a role in recruiting the men under false pretenses. The allegations sent shockwaves through political and social circles, adding a deeply personal and politically sensitive dimension to an already volatile case. Law enforcement soon confirmed that the matter was no longer just a media controversy. Police announced the arrest of 5 South Africans in connection with the alleged recruitment scheme. Among those arrested was Nonelikico Manula, a national radio presenter, a name that further intensified public interest and concern. As investigations unfolded, the Hawks provided chilling details. For suspects, they said, were expected to appear before the Camp Park Magistrates Court on Monday, December 1, 2025, following their arrest on Friday, November 28, 2025. The suspects face charges related to the alleged contravention of the Regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act of 1998, a law specifically designed to prevent South Africans from participating in or facilitating foreign military activities without proper authorization. According to the Hawks, preliminary investigations revealed that a South African woman had allegedly been facilitating the travel and recruitment of these individuals into the Russian Federation military. The implication was stark. This was not accidental nor informal, but allegedly organized and deliberate. It was against this backdrop that General Mbalula spoke out, and he did not mince his words. Why are innocent sons of our country being sold by daughters to fight foreign wars to fund lifestyles? Mbalula asked publicly, his language deliberately provocative and deeply emotive. In a single sentence, he captured the outrage felt by many South Africans who see the allegations as a betrayal not only of individuals but of national values. Mbalula framed the issue not merely as a legal matter but as a moral one. He described the alleged recruitment as exploitation, the manipulation of hope, ambition, and economic vulnerability for personal gain. In doing so, he placed the suffering of families, particularly those in KwaZulu-Natal, at the center of the conversation. The law must take its course, and our people must see that justice is being done. He said the families in KwaZulu-Natal deserve answers and justice. Those words resonated far beyond party politics. In homes across the province, parents are grappling with the fear that their sons may have been drawn into a war zone under false pretenses. Some families say communication has been sporadic or non-existent. Others say they were only alerted to the danger when social media reports began circulating. What makes the case especially troubling is the alleged method of recruitment. According to reports, the men were told they would receive bodyguard training, a form of work that, while risky, is not uncommon and does not inherently imply participation in active combat. The distinction is critical. Bodyguard training suggests protection, security, and professionalism was something else entirely. If the allegations are proven, then the recruits were not just misinformed, they were deceived. South Africa's Regulation of Foreign Military Assistance Act exists precisely to prevent such scenarios. The law makes it illegal for citizens to render foreign military assistance or participate in foreign armed conflicts without authorization from the state. It also criminalizes the recruitment, training or financing of individuals for such purposes. The arrests therefore signal that authorities are treating the matter with seriousness. But for families, arrests alone are not enough. They want clarity. They want to know where their sons are. They want to know whether they are safe. And they want to know who will ultimately be held accountable. Fico Mbalula's comments have also reignited broader debates about economic desperation and vulnerability among South African youth. In a country with high unemployment, particularly among young people, offers of work abroad, especially those promising training and income, can be powerfully persuasive. Critics argue that this vulnerability creates fertile ground for exploitation. When opportunities are scarce at home, the line between choice and coercion can become dangerously thin. Fico Mbalula's framing of the recruits as innocent sons speaks directly to this reality. At the same time, the involvement of high-profile names has complicated public discourse. The accusations involving Duduzile Zuma have been fiercely contested and no conviction has been secured. Yet, the political sensitivity of the allegations has added intensity to calls for transparency and due process. Fico Mbalula himself was careful to anchor his condemnation in the rule of law. While his language was forceful, he repeatedly emphasized that justice must be seen to be done through proper legal channels. This balance between moral outrage and legal restraint reflects the ANC's attempt to distance itself from unlawful activity while responding to public anger. Still, questions remain. How widespread was the alleged recruitment network? How many South Africans may have traveled under similar pretenses? Were financial incentives involved? And how did such recruitment allegedly operate without earlier detection? The Hawks have indicated that investigations are ongoing and that further arrests are not ruled out. They have also stressed the importance of international cooperation given the cross-border nature of the alleged offenses. For South Africa, the case raises uncomfortable questions about its position in a global conflict that officially lies far beyond its borders. While the country has sought to maintain a non-aligned stance on the Russia-Ukraine war, the alleged recruitment of its citizens into one side of that conflict threatens to blur diplomatic lines and complicate foreign relations. Fico Mbalula's condemnation therefore also carries a message beyond domestic politics. It signals that regardless of geopolitical sympathies, the exploitation of South Africans for foreign wars will not be tolerated. No South African should be misled into fighting in foreign conflicts under false pretenses, he said, a statement that has since been echoed by other political voices and civil society groups. As the case moves toward the courts, the spotlight will increasingly shift from allegations to evidence. Prosecutors will have to demonstrate intent, deception, and unlawful facilitation. Defense teams will challenge the narrative, question the credibility of claims, and argue for their client's innocence. But for now, the human cost remains front and center. Behind every charge sheet is a family waiting for news. Behind every headline is a young man whose future may have been altered forever. Fico Mbalula's words have amplified their voices, but they have also raised expectations. Calls for justice create pressure. Pressure on investigators to be thorough, on prosecutors to be precise, and on the courts to be fair. This is not just a story about alleged illegal recruitment. It is a story about power, trust, and vulnerability. About how easily opportunity can become a trap, and about how in a world of global conflict, the distance between a tavern conversation, a social media message, or a training offer, and a battlefield can be frighteningly short. As South Africans await the court appearances scheduled for December 2025, one thing is clear. This case will not quietly fade away. It touches too many nerves. It raises too many questions and it speaks too directly to the fears of families who believe their sons were taken not by force but by deception. Whether the courts ultimately confirm or reject the allegations, the debate sparked by this case has already left its mark. And as General Fico Mbalula has made clear, the country will be watching closely to see whether justice is not only done but seen to be done.